Hello, fellow gamers! Welcome to the second episode of the official Nintendo Manchester podcast. I'm your host, Andy, and today I'm joined by a man who once told me that his body is always ready. It's Nintendo Manchester's head honcho, Affie!
Evening, folks. How are we doing?
Now, of course, we've all had a very exciting week this week with, of course, E3 that's been on. And we've got quite a few things to talk about from the presentation and from Treehouse. I think, first and foremost, we're going to have to address the elephant in the room. And that is, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The reason why it's an elephant in the room, I suppose. I mean, yes, I do enjoy Smash Brothers. I'm really looking forward to the next one. And I was really, really happy to see plenty of stuff regarding the upcoming new entry in the franchise. But what concerned me was that the original presentation, it was essentially a Smash Direct, wasn't it, Affie?
Yeah, definitely. It was more like, here is the new Smash game that you've all been so patiently waiting for. We'll talk about pretty much as much of it as we can right now.
And it was covered a fair amount in the Treehouse as well.
Oh yeah, they kept going back to that like it was the next big thing, which I guess it is for the Nintendo Switch at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, we've all seen the footage. We've seen how sharp and crisp it looks. The detail on the characters is really great, and to think it's all on a tablet-sized machine, it looks and works better than it did on the Wii U by the looks of things. Oh,
the graphics update, even on its own, is enough to be like, oh yes, we like this.
And it looks so pretty. Imagine it in handheld. What also amazes me is that they've included every single character that's ever been on Smash into this game. I mean, that's phenomenal.
That's going beyond fan service at this point and just being like, everyone at some point in the franchise has gone, well, I liked playing as this character, so they've just taken every single one of them and gone, you wanted characters, have them all. You wanted characters, here's 2 new ones as well. Yeah, so the 2 new characters, obviously, they've introduced the Inklings from the Splatoon franchise, and at long last, finally he isn't too big. We've got Ridley from the Metroid series.
Yeah, that was a big surprise, that was.
Emphasis on the big, definitely.
And I don't know, seeing Ridley in the footage that was on E3 this week, I don't know, it kind of looks out of place.
It does a bit. I mean, it kind of like, it made me think about the last Smash game, obviously Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, looking at Charizard in certain footage, where you're just like, well, Charizard's a big boy, isn't he? But then you look at Ridley and it's like, whoa, never mind.
And we seem to have brushed under the carpet the fact that Ridley killed Samus's parents.
Yeah, well, seems to brush under the fact that in that reveal trailer, Ridley killed pretty much everybody other than Samus.
Something that they didn't mention in the original presentation, though, even though there was about 25 minutes worth of Smash in there, were the new Amiibo which are coming out as well.
Now, it's going to be interesting because obviously, as you said, they didn't touch on Amiibo at all in the Direct presentation, which I thought was interesting. But in the Treehouse, they showed the new Inkling Girl Amiibo for Smash series, as well as the Ridley Amiibo. And it obviously has got a lot of people thinking, well, are we going to see the likes of, Wolf from Star Fox? Are we going to see Snake from Metal Gear? Are we going to see the Ice Climbers? All those extra characters, are we going to see them get Amiibo? Because then there's going to be Pikachu, there's going to be Young Link. It's just going to be never ending. I would feel imminently bad for anybody. No, I'm not mentioning any names or pointing fingers. Anybody that I know that collects every single Amiibo, I would feel very bad for those people.
Or very excited for them anyway. Let's hope they've got enough room in their cabinets.
I think some extra shelf space may be required.
Yeah.
But on the whole, a point straight away that I want to talk about in Smash, I have to bring this up. As soon as they cut to that footage of Bomberman, I instantly went, yeah, it's just an assist trophy.
Oh, it is a shame.
I would have loved a Bomberman playable character in Smash.
Yeah.
Because I want a Bomberman amiibo as well, but don't tell everybody. But oh my God, it just to play as Bomberman in Smash just would have been brilliant. They've got all the power-ups in the games, obviously the staple of his bombs. There's plenty of things they could do to make a move set for Bomberman. So who knows, maybe in the future when we get a Smash game where they're adding more new content to it, or possibly if Ultimate does as well as Smash 4, will it get DLC?
That's a very strong possibility, because they did a pretty good job with providing DLC for the last Smash. And that was made even more complicated by the fact that they had to make the DLC not only for the Wii U, but for the 3DS as well, where it launched on a portable platform for the first time.
Oh, absolutely. It was, I mean, to be fair, Smash coming to the Nintendo 3DS at the time was probably the most ambitious thing they've done with the series.
And I think they did it really well.
Absolutely. Smash 3DS will forever go down as one of a major highlight point in 3DS's life. I mean, the 3DS console that's like going into 7-8 years now of like being a brilliant console and having full support from Nintendo, to get Smash running on that. I mean, okay, fine, it cost the Ice Climbers as fighters, but whatever. It's kind of a swings and roundabout situation for that one, but to get it running on the 3DS was just tremendous. And it's one of those things, we, as a community, we did celebrate Smash coming out for the 3DS, and then separately we celebrated it coming out for the Wii U because it came out on the same day as Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So obviously we did a launch celebration at our local game, and it was a fantastic evening.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned Pokemon, actually, because there was a lot of footage and new news regarding the new Pokemon games that are coming out later this year. It's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
I am so excited for these games.
Yeah.
The way they kind of did another kind of similar thing. They just kind of went, we announced that we're bringing out Pokemon Let's Go like in November. Like, you had a bit of a scene with Reggie stood and talking about it briefly. And then once Treehouse hit, you were just like, whack, here's all this brand new information about the game. And it's just like, if I couldn't have been excited for it now, then I'd have lost hope in myself, because I'm one of the people that as soon as Let's Go Pokemon was announced, I was like, I am here for this. I am getting it. I love the idea. Nice and casual. Let's have full-on Generation 8 competitive Pokemon next year. Let's just have something nice and casual, just for a yearly gap, as it were. But the features, I mean, the connectivity with Pokemon Go, obviously loads of people were worrying about that. You've no need to, clearly, from what they've shown. The artwork is beautiful. Oh my God, look how well that runs on the Switch. That runs at probably the best frame rate ever I've seen Pokemon running.
Now, what I liked about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu is that when I saw the footage, it looked like it worked, it moved exactly the same as the games that are on the 3DS at the moment. In fact, for all we know, it might be even the same engine that's been ported over and polished. Oh,
absolutely. There's absolutely no reason why they wouldn't do that. It would obviously make life a heck of a lot easier for Game Freak and Creatures like as a whole, but they've got, well, let's just say more power behind the Switch than the 3DS for them to properly polish up that game and be like, right, here's like Pokemon as you've never seen it before, and it's glorious.
I mean, it's a nice little bit of practice, really, for Game Freak when it comes to developing for the first time on the Nintendo Switch. So let's say, okay, let's take what we've got on this platform, it's tried and tested, and then just ship it over to this new one with new textures and sort of a new story. It's in Kanto. You've still got the original 151 available there, but nonetheless, it's going to be new for a lot of people. It's new for them as part of development is concerned, and I think what they've done is they've made it as easy on themselves as they can.
I would say challenge. I would say they've certainly given themselves a challenge still.
Yes, they've given themselves a challenge, because not only have they gone ahead and ported that over, bad looks of things, but they're also introducing this connectivity with Pokemon Go. So between a mobile device and the Switch, it's unprecedented. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
No, and it leads into the whole thing of, well, Nintendo, to slightly go off topic, but not at the same time, Nintendo's next IP to get a mobile release is Mario Kart that gets a mobile title in the guise of what they're calling Mario Kart Tour. And obviously, if Pokemon Go can connect to Let's Go Pokemon, will the same be said for future titles such as Mario Kart?
I wonder, yeah, if Nintendo go ahead and bring out a whole fresh new Mario Kart for the Switch, I don't know how feasible that'll be, because I don't think I've seen any more than one Mario Kart release for any given Nintendo platform. But we can only hope. But if they do, and they introduce connectivity with Mario Kart Tour, that'd be great.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's within reason of the kind of things that can be shared, such as in Pokemon, you can send over your Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Pokemon Let's Go, but obviously then you can't get those Pokemon back kind of things. So obviously, it's kind of like that's the catch, as it were.
Yes. But speaking of catching, though, what about that Pokeball controller?
Oh, my God. I mean, it's one of those things. It's an absolutely typically wonderful Game Freak bit of technology that they've got there, where they've basically just gone, let's put a Joy-Con inside of a Pokeball.
Yeah.
Now, I've said from the very beginning, I will be sold on that if I can use it for other games as well. If they include some kind of compatibility for other games, I'd love that. And so far, the impression I'm getting is it probably won't be.
It's probably not. It's going to be up there with the Pokewalkers, where you've only got it for one game or one generation, as it were.
Which means everybody that's interested, buy it at release, because even if you don't use it, that thing's going to be worth a fortune. Because if you look at Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver right now with the Pokewalkers, they are expensive in certain second-hand shops.
They really are. Let's not forget as well, the Pokeball Plus, it doesn't only work in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It also works as a Pogo Plus for the Pokemon Go app.
Which obviously is aimed at not only bringing people back to playing a bit more of Pokemon Go, it's like it literally is a kind of, not to say a show and tell moment, but it is almost like Game Freak and Nintendo have gone, look at how well we can do connectivity between these two things. Like, maybe we can expect similar things to that in future. That would be a really good sort of thing to think about. However, there is an instant issue with that Pokeball Plus controller.
Oh.
And it is the only way to obtain Mew in the Let's Go games.
Yes, it is. Because there's been no mention at all about Pokemon Bank connectivity. So you couldn't get your Mew from that onto there.
Yeah, I'm guessing Pokemon Bank will skip over Let's Go in favour of the Generation 8 games in 2019. Obviously, for example, within our own community, I saw people saying, well, the people that don't play Pokemon Go on the mobile won't be able to get Mew and have to buy the Pokeball Plus. And obviously some people were replying saying, well, I've got Mew in Pokemon Go, I'm just going to transfer it over. And then a couple of hours later, it was confirmed that you weren't able to do that. Whatever the Mew you receive in Pokemon Go through the special research, you can't transfer that to Pokemon Let's Go.
Yeah, because we also wonder as well, does that extend to other kind of legendary Pokemon? Will it include Mewtwo or the 3 legendary birds?
Well, thankfully not. And we've already seen in-game footage from Pokemon Let's Go of Articuno, Zapdos and Moltres in the Pokemon Go Park where you transfer your Pokemon to. So thankfully, at least we know that they aren't limited. And the other good thing is Mewtwo is actually already in the Let's Go Pokemon games because you see him at the end as a teaser thing from the original trailer.
Yeah. So definitely looking forward to that one. Just to finish off with that Pokeball, though, we've got to... Well, of course, we know that it works with the Let's Go series of games, and we know that it works with Pokemon Go as well as a Go Plus. So it's going to be on sale for about £45. And to be honest, the fact that it works for both of them, and considering the original cost of the Pokemon Go Plus, it makes it quite a bit of a bargain.
I would definitely say so, but and obviously, on the final note, as you've said, at the time of recording, the bundles with Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu, and the Pokeball Plus have been announced for Japan and North American territories. But funnily enough, we've not had an announcement officially from what I remember for Europe. I could be wrong.
Well, it would be silly of them to leave out the UK and Europe. I mean, I believe they're probably going to be up for pre-order. Well, probably not long from now.
I would hope so. I would really hope so, because let's face it, you've got to have that link up now, haven't you, between all your major territories, especially because region-free Switch. I mean,
absolutely. Otherwise, people will just get them overseas. I can probably see myself getting both bundles, to be fair. From one game that isn't available for pre-order yet to a game that was announced that is available for pre-order. Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Oh my god. I mean, obviously, this has been shown last year at E3 by Ubisoft, but who among us expected that surprise moment in Ubisoft's presentation where it changed over and it's like, they were sending like a distress signal out, and then suddenly a mysterious figure appears, and you see the outfit, and then you see the fur, and then you see the visor, and then it's like, oh my god, it's Star Fox!
That was absolutely brilliant move on Ubisoft and Nintendo's part.
Oh, I cannot wait.
It does look really good, and the model ships that you can get with them as well as part of the starter packs, which are up for pre-order right now on Ubisoft's website and on Amazon, probably in a few other places as well. I think you get 20% off if you got 100 Ubisoft points. Which
I definitely took advantage of, thank you.
But nonetheless, yeah, it looks amazing, and it looks like it's going to be so much fun, especially with Fox McCloud included on it. One thing that concerned me is that I've seen a lot of comparisons between this and No Man's Sky online.
Now, see, that's interesting, because I haven't, so it's quite an interesting take.
Yeah, because there are lots of people trying to compare this to No Man's Sky. And I wonder if they're trying to make that comparison because No Man's Sky was it was massively hyped, and then when it came out, everyone bought it who had platforms. Yeah, who had platforms who could play it, and it turns out it was absolutely nothing like what the marketing said it would be.
It was a very touchy time for Sony gamers when No Man's Sky first came out, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah. Oh boy, but this is a game that's coming out on a Nintendo platform, so I don't think we're going to have that much trouble.
Well, the fact is this game is multi-platform, so obviously it's going to be a case of the three major consoles, as it were, are getting it. What is obviously even better is that because Ubisoft are releasing like the starter pack, kind of in like a Skylanders way, which I've seen a lot of comparisons of, but the Nintendo Switch one is getting the R-Wing figure and Fox McCloud figure, and it's just like...
It looks amazing.
God, now that is a third-party partnership that I am definitely on board with all the way. If like Ubisoft are going to continue throwing support such as Mario Rabbids and then Star Fox in Starlink like this, I'm here for it. I will sit at the table and I will eat that up all day. Honest to God, that is just... I saw it, I pre-ordered it straight away. I was just like, I need this R-Wing in my life. It will probably sit on a shelf after I've played the game for numerous years, but I don't care. It's gorgeous.
It's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I didn't get to watch the presentation live, so I watched it the following day, and I then understood the hype around it, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes. So I don't have 100 Ubisoft points, so I've popped in a pre-order on Amazon. £2 off with Prime, so that's all right.
It's not bad, but good thing that you can do is if you have a Uplay account, start earning points and get that discount.
Does that include Uplay on the Wii U by any chance?
If the servers are still existing and active for it, then yeah, you could probably play Rayman Legends for definite.
Interesting. For anyone who picked up a Wii U and has Uplay installed, you might be able to take advantage of that if you're already using it.
Oh, absolutely. It's highly recommended because it basically, the 20% off brings it to £55.99 for that starter pack for the Switch. And it is for the game, the R-Wing as the main ship, the Fox McCloud character, the main character from the game whose name escapes me right now, and the 2 little customizable guns for the ship. And that's for £55.99 instead of £69.99. That's a pretty decent offer.
That's very good. I wonder if they're going to be selling like gun parts or ship parts separately in future.
I mean, it's pretty much a given that this is obviously going to be, they're hoping for a big Toys to Life thing with it, which is a shame because a lot of Toys to Life stuff is pretty much dead on the floor nowadays, minus Amiibo, thankfully.
Yeah.
But they did also mention that you don't have to have the physical toys and everything outside of the starter pack. Apparently, you can just buy them as downloadable DLC bits as well. Which, also gives scope for the fact that, obviously, okay, microtransactions is a touchy subject for a lot of gamers right now, but,
well, it's for cosmetics. I suppose, actually, if you're buying guns and stuff, that's probably going to improve the way that you battle and what have you, so perhaps it's not only cosmetic.
Yeah. The important thing is they've found a solution that not everyone's going to be spending between £10 and £20 a time on what you're assuming is going to be another Starship figurine, or like between £5 and £10 on weapons upgrades, etc., etc. So they've definitely thought ahead of this one and gone, here's how we'll play it. And because the Toys to Life thing is a bit of a dying medium now, as it were, which it was bound to happen at some point. It's a case of they've obviously got a contingency there in place.
Yes, they have. You can just download it instead of buying the parts and having them take up precious shelf space, really.
Oh, I mean, shelf space that I already don't have at the moment anyway, so God knows where that R is going to go. But the most important thing for me that comes out of it is they confirmed that you can just play the entire game with just the R-Wing.
That's pretty neat.
Yes. That now, if you want a Star Fox experience on your Nintendo Switch, there is your answer for now. Come October, that is for now your ticket.
Yeah, I think it's early to mid-October, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. So
now, if they can just include support for my Fox McCloud amiibo, I'd be happy.
I think if they did that, it would be probably one of the
Lombardi one.
Things. Yeah, obviously, and the probably soon-to-be Wolf one for Smash Ultimate.
Exactly. Yes.
they'll have basically got the full winning package there if they can get away with that.
Now, moving on from a niche market to something which has absolutely exploded around the world, Fortnite came out on the Switch this week.
And to be precise, it came out on the day, which was the worst kept secret in gaming this year.
Oh, no. Yeah, we've had a couple of people data mine the Nintendo eShop information and find, Fortnite's in there. Interesting.
And then a few days later, it's Fortnite's coming out on the day of the Nintendo Direct. And it was wonderful because I love the idea of them getting Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch, and I will openly admit that I play Fortnite. Okay, I go on it and enjoy it. I'm not like one of these serious, I must come in first and I will assassinate and snipe the heck out of you and I will use it. No, I go on it and I play hide and seek for 20 minutes and pop out at the last minute and see if I get killed or not.
Dressed as a bush.
I'm just walking around hidden in a bush doing a little crab walk. No, I'm so impressed that Epic Games have got that to run as. Yeah, I play it on the Xbox One. Okay, I'm not one to diverge, but to play it on the Nintendo Switch and compare it to the Xbox One, there's very little in terms of downgrades in my eyes.
Yeah, it's mostly it's just a little shinier on Xbox, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it was obviously, other than being a horribly kept secret, as soon as that little pinata came up on the screen for the Nintendo Direct, I was like, "Here's Fortnite!"
Now, I'm not ashamed to say it. I had never ever played Fortnite until it came out on Switch, and I think I played it for the very first time with you, didn't I? A couple of nights ago. Yes,
and we had fun, and it wasn't anything about, let's become the top players and kill everybody and blah, blah. Yeah. We literally just ran around like a pair of lunatics and
had fun. And I admit it was fun. I'd probably pop on again sometime soon. I mean, I do have it downloaded on. Okay, I'll say it on my PlayStation, but I never opened it. It's to lead me to a problem which many a player has had, which is if you've ever opened up the account, your Epic Games account on a PS4, well, good luck using it in anything else because it ain't going to work.
It is literally becoming the biggest downfall. Sony are literally at this point, without going into too much detail, they are becoming their own downfall because this current console generation that we're in, you've got Microsoft, Android, iOS, and Nintendo, along with like obviously PC.
Yeah.
You've got it all playing ball with cross-platform. You know, you've got Rocket League that can go cross-platform. You've got Minecraft that, as of the end of June for the Nintendo Switch, and then already on other platforms, can go cross-platform. And then every single opportunity they've taken, Sony have just gone, no, we're protecting our customer base by not letting them do it. And there's been, and it's because every single point it's become an issue for people. But obviously for Fortnite, because I can go on my Switch and get my Epic account that I've worked on my Xbox, have it on my Switch and there'll be no issues. For anyone that's got a Sony platform that can't do that, people have put money into this game to get the in-game currency V-Bucks, and they've bought the Battle Pass for like the in-game seasons, which last roughly 2 to 3 months at a time. We're still like 20-something days before the end of Season 4. People have put money into this game, want to take it from the PlayStation to the Nintendo Switch to play it on the go, and Sony have basically just gone, no. I have literally got nothing but pure sympathy for every single PlayStation 4 player that wants their data, but whatever energy you've got towards that, please direct it at Sony, not at Nintendo and not at Epic Games. It is a decision made by Sony, and unfortunately Epic Games can't come up with a workaround. Well,
nonetheless, Fortnite is out on the Switch now. If you haven't downloaded it, well, why haven't you? Because it's actually quite fun, and it's free.
It is. That is the thing. I mean, you know, people like to judge games like that, but at the end of the day, it's a free download on your Nintendo Switch. It's like 1.9 gig. Okay, so it's just under 2 gig. So you're looking at a short space of time to download it, get into it. Obviously, a lot of people I've seen have gone, I'm playing Fortnite and I've no idea what I'm doing. But it's like you get used to it and you'll either have fun with it, you won't like it, or you'll grow to love it like I did.
In fact, there's something else that we can say about Fortnite. Wasn't there an update the other day where they introduced voice chat?
There was. It was actually, at the time of recording, it was yesterday on the 14th of June, where there was the update put out, and you can plug in a viable headset to your Nintendo Switch and use voice chat without the Nintendo Switch Online app. And it's like, hold on a minute, this is important. And it turns out that it's been an option for third-party developers from very early on that they could choose to do that. And it's like, you're letting third-party developers do it, but not yourselves.
I
Why?
heard that it was made available through the dev kits and stuff since February, March of this year.
I mean, that's a year into the console's life cycle. That's more than long enough for Nintendo to go, hang on a minute, we should be doing this ourselves. The fan base clearly don't really like the app. There is nothing wrong with them holding their hands up and saying, we tried something, we didn't quite get it right, we apologise, we'll correct it.
Well, nonetheless, yeah, it seems that it is possible to be able to use a headset with a microphone, or even if, you know those headphones that came with your mobile phone with a microphone on that you never use? Just whip them out and put them in and they should work. In fact, if you don't have a small, like, wide headset like that, you could go down to a shop in town and pick up a pair for $5.
Speaking of free games, I was one of the silly people that stayed awake late at night to watch Bethesda's E3 conference because Bethesda have been very supportive of the Nintendo Switch so far. And a nice little surprise there was them putting Fallout Shelter onto the Nintendo Switch. Now, obviously, for those that aren't aware, Fallout Shelter is primarily, it was a mobile release that then came to the Xbox One and now is available on Switch. And it's just a nice little it's another nice little sit back and relax game. Have a little like tinker about with your vault. You know, make sure that there's power, make sure there's food, make sure there's water, make sure that your vault dwellers are kept alive and happy, and occasionally kick them out of the vault into the wilderness and see what they can find.
Yeah, it's up there with Pokemon Quest, where it's one of those nice little time wasters where you can sit back, relax, not really worry about what the outcome's going to be, and just have a bit of fun with it, and it's free. I'd never played Shelter before. I'd seen screenshots of it online and been absolutely confused as to what it is, because I'd only played Fallout 4. But I've been able to have a go at it on the Switch, and it's quite nice. It's quite a nice little game. A little bit of advice, though. I think it probably works best in handheld mode, because when you dock it, you've got to use your controls to move from the different rooms in the vault, and it's a bit clunky. So if you use it in handheld mode, you can just zoom out and in with a pinch or a squeeze, what have you, and tap and interact with your dwellers.
Agreed, especially when you've got a room that randomly catches fire and you need to go next door, pick up a dweller, drag him into the next room just in time for the fire to spread to the rest of your vault because you weren't moving fast enough. I mean, that's annoying.
So I think, certainly in handheld mode, it works better. I would say the same applies for Pokemon Quest.
But thankfully, Fallout Shelter doesn't rely as heavily on microtransactions as Pokemon Quest does. Pokemon Quest really tries to push that whole, your in-game batteries run out. Do you want to pay to keep playing? Whereas Fallout Shelter doesn't really have any of that, thankfully.
Yeah, I'd rather just wait 2.5 to 3 hours for the batteries to recharge.
Agreed.
Something else that was announced for Nintendo at E3, which absolutely shocked me, was Damon X Maxima.
Or however you say it.
I've probably butchered the name. My sincerest apologies for getting that wrong if I've got it wrong. But how cool does that look?
I was watching it and I'm like, what is this? Is this Gundam? Is this going to be like some kind of custom robo stuff? It could have been absolutely anything. I'm just like, what is this?
It reminded me of when you get the mechs in Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah.
I was looking at it thinking, this looks so freaking sweet.
It's like, wait, they're robots. Wait, they're flying robots. Wait, they're in outer space.
Yeah. And there was a brief shot of it for about a minute at the beginning of Nintendo's E3 presentation. Now, I think it was on day 2 of the Treehouse. They showed some in-game footage of it as well, and it does look really, really nice.
It's definitely the big surprise of the presentation, where it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, that's something which I want to really. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from. I don't think we really have that much information on it at the moment, do we?
No, there isn't a lot, which is fine. You know, it's a good old Nintendo tease of like, here's something that's coming that you won't have expected. Have a look at it. You'll learn more eventually.
Yeah. But I think there was a release date of 2019 for that as well.
Yes, it is definitely a next year title.
I guess we're just going to have to keep our ears to the ground and see if they come out with anything more over the coming months.
I'm sure they'll be bringing more information about what looks to be a really good game directly to us soon.
Yay! And hey, what about other games that were announced coming soon for the Nintendo Switch? Maybe not necessarily from Nintendo's presentation.
Well, I mean, I was very interested in, again, when I was talking about watching the Ubisoft conference, I saw a very, very star-spangled Finnish man come out onto the stage on a motorbike, go onto the stage, fall over purposefully to break something, and introduce the new Trials game, which is called Trials Rising. And obviously Trials is, for those that aren't aware of the game series, it's basically a motorbiking game where you are encouraged to crash and make a bit of a mess, as it were, in order to learn and do better.
Yeah, you're supposed to go through the course, doing tricks and what have you on your motocross bike, try and get to the end faster than anyone else or in a set time. But a lot of the time, you're just going to crash and burn. Oh,
absolutely. It's like the guy said, we encourage you to do it. And watching this segment was really nice. And right at the end, it's like, Trials Rising will be coming in February 2019 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and for the first time, Nintendo Switch. And I just went, yes!
Yes, I did a little mini fist bump at that point. It does look like a really fun game.
Well, I mean, I've played Trials games in the past. I've, at the moment, got Trials of the Blood Dragon on my Xbox, which is where they basically took something from Far Cry and mixed it with Trials. And it was just a bit of a weird crossover thing, but hey, it worked. So to hear that Trials Rising is coming to the Nintendo Switch, I was just like, yeah, imagine that's in handheld. I mean, Andy's going to love this on the train.
Yep, definitely on the train, on the John, wherever. But what concerns me is, yes, they said they've got a February 2019 launch for all the, and they mentioned the platforms it's coming out on. Is it coming out on the Switch at the same time?
Well, they didn't diverge dates. They did say they were going for a unified release. So here's hoping. I think the only thing that might have made people think otherwise is because they've obviously announced a beta for the game as well, but only for Xbox and PlayStation, which is understandable because I imagine betas are a little bit, I wouldn't necessarily say harder, but they'll be slightly different to run on a Nintendo Switch versus other consoles. I think the importance of Trials Rising coming to the Nintendo Switch is it gives a bit more of a different genre to the Nintendo Switch and to gamers. It'll be one of those things, if there's like a multiplayer bit, it'll be bigger communities and like group events like the ones that we do. Check out Nintendo Manchester.
And of course, with Trials Rising, I think you've got, well, with many Trials games, you've got up to 4 players, haven't you? So include local multiplayer on that. You're laughing.
Absolutely.
But other games that tend to have a lot of local multiplayer is, of course, the Mario Party series. And of course, there was another one released for the Switch that's coming out, I think it's later this year, Super Mario Party.
Well, I'm glad they've done away with the numbers anyway, because I was losing track. We've had 10 plus 2 3DS titles, so that's 12.
Yeah, we've had quite a few now. But this was going to be the first one that comes out on Switch. And it's not only going to have local multiplayer, but it's been confirmed it's got online play for the minigames as well.
Which is a first for the series, and it's impressive.
Yeah, I like the idea. I think it'd be nice, though, if you could have full multiplayer games on the board. Yeah,
definitely. It'd be nice to see. I mean, to be fair, the way they're going, obviously, they're kind of testing the waters with it, of kind of, let's see if this will run well as an online thing. But it's nice to see them step out of that kind of online thing for Nintendo anyway. But it's also quite apparent that they're getting a feel for it. It's taken them a while to warm up to it, but they're getting there with it, which it's nice to see.
We've got to. We can't forget that this game comes out the month after that Nintendo's online service comes into play in September. So from that moment on, if we want to play online, we're going to have to pay for it. And if we're going to be having to pay to go online, and in Mario Party all you get are just a few mini games to play online, I mean, where's the value in it?
That's definitely a kind of hit and miss situation there. Like if you buy the online service for it's like £20 a year, thankfully it's a bit more cost effective. But if you're only going to use, say, Mario Party once in a blue moon, as it were, are you really going to get your money's worth out of that? Possibly not.
And of course, and for everything else, you're going to need friends who also play it. Because it's not going to be, well, I imagine, it's not going to be like with Star Rush on the 3DS, where you can download... Actually, maybe they might have a download app for you to be a guest in the game.
That'd be nice. It certainly made Mario Party Star Rush a bit more accessible for people that not necessarily going to be interested in playing Mario Party, but want a taste for it. Let's get a feel for Mario Party.
Even I've got it on my 3DS.
No, I just have the full game for Star Rush. So, what a comparison that I made for Mario Party, well, for Super Mario Party for definite, was with 3DS games, it was like Nintendo were like, how can we get Street Pass as a feature into this game? Now it kind of feels like Nintendo going, how can we get online to work in this game?
Yes, they're always thinking of something that they can just squeeze in there, just as an added plus, as it were, on top of what you get in the box.
Yeah, like, you can play online and there'll be leaderboards.
Right. I think for the next bit that we're going to discuss, I wanted to tell you all a short tale about my youth when I was first starting to play video games. It was back on the Atari 2600. We'd have it set up on the old tube telly in the back room, and I would go through all of the different games that we had. We had a couple of different Star Wars games. We had all sorts of games on there. And one of the games which I thoroughly enjoyed playing was called Sky Skipper. I really enjoyed going through that. It was a game where you're a little guy in a biplane and you're dropping off, I think, food to animals that have gotten loose, and you complete the game when you've dropped off all the food, and as long as you don't run out of fuel. Now, let's fast forward a few years, actually, to about 2 years ago, where I picked up my very own Atari 2600 with the wooden finish on the front, because I couldn't find the original one back at my folks' house. But when I went to last visit, I picked up a whole heap of games which were still on the shelf in my old bedroom. And one of those games was indeed Sky Skipper, and it still works just as well now as it did back in the 80s. Now let's fast forward again to E3 of 2018, where Nintendo announced that they are going to be releasing a couple of new additions to the arcade archives. First one being Donkey Kong, and the second one, Sky Skipper. Now, of course, as you can imagine, I am absolutely stoked for this. It's a recreation. It's generally pretty much a straight port of the original Sky Skipper arcade game. Now, I never played the arcade game. I only had the Atari version, but this, it looks like my childhood all over again. I want to get that when it comes out.
It's definitely really, really nice to see these arcade archives that Nintendo are focusing on. They're just going a little bit beyond like the virtual console releases that they used to do, where it just be like, oh, here's Super Mario World for the 13th time. It's nice that they're now going, well, thanks to this, here's a game that we never released on one of our platforms, or here's such a game with an online feature, or here's such a game with like a leaderboard type thing, or as of yesterday, here's Donkey Kong.
Yes, because Donkey Kong has only just come out now on the eShop. I think it's £6.29.
Available now. Ding.
Available now. But certainly with Sky Skipper, when I was a kid playing it, I had absolutely no idea that Nintendo made it. It was only when I picked it up from my folks a couple of years ago when I looked at the small print on the sticker on the cartridge and it said copyright Nintendo. I was like, what? So it's essentially, Sky Skipper was the very first Nintendo game that I ever played.
It's nice to know that Nintendo have been there shaping your life behind the scenes when even you didn't know about it.
Absolutely. And here's me thinking that the very first Nintendo game that I played was Mario Brothers or Legend of Zelda, but no, it was Sky Skipper. I'm sure that probably applies to many people who go to the Nintendo Manchester events. So anyway, as you can imagine, I'm very excited about this release. It's such a simple game. It's not a graphic powerhouse. The only online feature that's on it are leaderboards. But certainly, it's a game that I want to revisit again. In fact, I might just get it off the shelf and have a play of it tonight. Now that it's coming out, get myself prepared for it.
Absolutely, and given the fact that you've waited quite a number of years for an Atari game to have a more relevant release now, thankfully you only have to wait another month, according to Nintendo's press releases.
Oh, it's going to be out in a month.
Yeah, they've slated it as a July title, which is very nice.
Oh, definitely. Day one purchase for me.
Absolutely.
I think that's everything that we wanted to cover from E3 in the Treehouse, isn't it, Affie?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to summarise this year's E3, as a Nintendo gamer, a lot of people that watch the Nintendo Direct, with the exception of Smash, will have looked at it and gone, okay, that's a fair old amount of stuff that Nintendo are throwing at us there. Couple of surprises as well. But there was a kind of glaring omission in my eyes as to last E3, we had a big look at the new Yoshi game that's going to be releasing for the Switch, and it spent a lot of time in Treehouse as well. So it was glaringly missing from this year's presentation. And somebody pointed out that its eShop release on the website now says 2019 as opposed to this year. Does that mean this new Yoshi game has just been delayed? Because I'm not going to say that I'm worried about it, because obviously if it was going to be delayed, Nintendo would have announced it by now that, you know, unfortunately this game is being delayed. However, the fact that it wasn't mentioned in this Direct, and I mean, fine, it's an obvious thing to say as a Nintendo gamer anyway, but they've got a lot more held back for a Nintendo Direct, probably September time, hopefully. You know, knock on wood and all that, because I'm hoping it comes in the next few months. But there's certainly a lot of other things that Nintendo will have working behind the scenes, as it were, where they always say that we show things when we feel like we're ready. And at the moment, to things such as Metroid Prime 4, which was teased, they're not quite ready to show anything for that yet. People want a new entry in the Animal Crossing franchise. Probably not ready to show that either. And that's fine. Take your time, Nintendo, because in a couple of months' time, when you say, here's a Nintendo Direct, we'll go, yes, there's something new.
And then they will be able to give us a bit more information about Yoshi's Flipping Island. But yeah, I was quite disappointed that there wasn't anything about Yoshi, because seeing it last year, it looked like it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed Woolly's World on both Wii U and 3DS. And I absolutely love the Yarn Yoshi amiibo as well. It's so cute. But absolutely, yeah, I think more information about that would have been nice. But as you say, if Nintendo aren't ready, then they're not ready, and I can understand. Absolutely.
I mean, it is a shame for Yoshi, because he's now reduced to a brief appearance in Super Mario Odyssey. He's a playable character in Mario Tennis Aces, and he's a playable fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So essentially, he's been Waluigi'd, but obviously Waluigi still got Waluigi'd harder because he's still an assist trophy in Smash and not a playable character.
He's essentially been Luigi'd.
Yeah. Well, Luigi didn't even get a brief appearance in Super Mario Odyssey. He was literally there as a costume, and it still was Mario's logo.
And on the Smash presentation as well, he was just in there right at the end getting pooped out by Yoshi.
Oh yeah, these two greenies are back as well.
Yeah, these green guys. Yeah, they're in it too, don't worry about it.
It's a me, Green Mario.
Right, I think this is all the time that we've got for this episode of the Nintendo Manchester podcast, where we've been discussing many of the key points of Nintendo's E3 presentation of 2018 and also the Treehouse over the last few days. But tell us, what were your thoughts on E3? What were your thoughts on Treehouse? Were there any games that you were really hyped up for? Any which weren't mentioned, which you were hoping to see more of, like Yoshi, for example? Please let us know in the comments and on our Facebook page as well.
It's been another year of E3. We've had another nice lineup shown from Nintendo, and I'm looking forward to the next inevitable Nintendo Direct that we'll get at the end of the year, because who knows what's going to happen at that point. But to close out with, the end of the Switch's second year in activity is looking pretty good.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to get my hands on all those big name releases. Right, and on that note, I'm going to say, this has been Affie.
And that's been Andy.
And you've been you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys.